Hello, my name is Maria Joliker. Welcome to my show, Let's Talk About History. Today I have a special guest, Lou Sorrentino, and he found millstone at Devil's Hopyard, and it's quite a story that goes along with him finding the millstone at Devil's Hopyard. So I want to talk real quickly about Devil's Hopyard in case you don't know about the place. Devil's Hopyard in East Haddam, Connecticut, gets its name from two primary legends. One, a distorted version of a local farmer's name, possibly Dibble, who grew hops on his land, and two, the belief that the devil himself created the distinctive potholes near Chapman Falls in anger after getting his tail wet. While historic records are unclear about the exact origin, the mysterious genealogical formations and the superstitious beliefs of colonial settlers likely contributed to the name's enduring allure. Okay, so my first question is, you went to Devil's Hopyard when you were a child. Can you tell me about, your experience there as a child with your family? You enjoyed it, going to the park?
Yes, we went there and we had food and fellowship and we took long walks. Yeah. My mom would point to things in the falls and we'd listen to the animals and sing songs.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is the most wonderful part of my life.
Oh, nice. Yeah, definitely. Growing up, your experiences with your family tend to be mostly beautiful memories. Yeah, I know what you mean. Do many people go to Devil's Hopyard, or it's a park, a state park? Is it used quite a bit, or is it kind of out in the woods that nobody really knows about? It'd be a beautiful place to go to. I think you go right past Walmart and in Norwich and Salem Turnpike and get to, in autumn, the foliage would be beautiful this time of the year, right?
I find it astounding.
Yeah, I bet.
There's not that many people who go there, but sometimes I've seen up to 100.
Yeah. I went there once years ago when I was about 18 or 19, but I don't really remember it that much. I went with some friends and okay. After your parents died, you visited Devil's Hopyard again. Please tell me what that was like. You wanted to kind of take in the memories that you had going there when you were a child, and was it a new experience after your parents died to go there? And
yeah, I was feeling kind of anxious and wondering how my life was going to be without my parents. So I went there and I was smiling, listening to the birds, the nature, taking a walk, trying to talk to other people. But something happened where I started crying. I was looking at the waterfall, at Chapman Falls there. Mm-hmm. And the crying was so deep in my heart. I said, what am I going to do without you now, Mom and Dad? I miss you so much. What do you want me to do? And I opened my eyes and I saw in the mill, right below it, in the foundation in the rocks near the waterfall, something I had never noticed. It was a round piece of stone with things cut into it. And I said, wow, that's interesting. And that's how it started.
Wow. Isn't that funny? You were, it came upon you almost like to lead yourself to a new experience. Yeah,
Yes.
that's really fascinating. And when there used to be a mill in that area, in Chapman Falls, what was the mill? It was owned by a Beebe, Mr. Beebe. Can you tell me about that? What the mill was used for? And this was during the Revolutionary period, right?
Yes.
The Revolutionary War period, 1700s.
And it was a lot of history I looked up in the local libraries and talked to other people. And I found out that that building that was no longer there, all you could see is the foundation, or at the top of the waterfall, was actually a church as well as a mill where they ground things. And the local doctor's office was in there, and that was the only one of any of those right there in that town, a small town in East Haddam. And in that little place, all those wonderful things were happening. People were coming to God, they were being healed in their body, and they were being supplied with their daily food needs.
So there were houses around in that area. Like, I was reading in here that on Facebook, somebody said that was the first, let's see if I can find it real quick. It was the first town that was in East Haddam was Devil's Hopyard. And somebody on Facebook wrote that. That's what they, discussing Devil's Hopyard in Haddam. So it was like a village, a little community, right?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So apparently the Sons of Liberty came there, and the Sons of Liberty, the Devil's Hopyard, the area was attacked by the Sons of Liberty in 1775 on a mill owned by pro-British loyalists. After a portion of the broken millstone was found at the foot of the falls in 2002, a park sign was erected to present details of the story. So, but what happened between the Sons of Liberty then? They didn't fool around. No, they were determined to win that war. And can you tell us how they treated Mr. Beebe? Mr. Beebe was a British loyalist, and
Right.
apparently he did not want to go along with the Sons of Liberty. So tell me what the Sons of Liberty did to him, and they tarred and feathered him, correct?
And they not only tarred and feathered him, but they tarred and feathered him completely naked in front of his community. And then they poured hot things on him. It was burning his skin, and it was horrible. Oh. But that was in that mill. There was also a local church, like I said before, and a lot of the people there were getting shot or tortured in the revolution, and a lot of American Indians that happened to, because they were supporting the British as well, because they knew they had to or they'd die. Yeah. The British would kill them.
Yeah.
So they were supporting that, but then the Revolutionary War people, like under Thomas Jefferson and George Washington's authority, they had the permission to do these kind of things to them, even though it was in a local church and in a place where a doctor's office was. And many of those people were just given treatment by them. They weren't part of the revolution shooting anybody. They just wanted to help people.
Yeah. So also, didn't you tell me that George Washington told the Sons of Liberty that you do not let them be helped if the British are injured at this particular area, Devil's Hopyard in Connecticut?
Right.
Because you were saying that there's also an area for people, the wounded, to be helped. But George Washington made orders that you do not help the British at the time.
Right, in any way, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's very drastic
To think that
measures.
the founders of our nation, who were such good people in other ways, were doing some other things. And that made me look at my own life, and I said, I want to be good, but what am I doing wrong? I had to look at myself. If my heroes were doing bad things, I have to be a better person too.
Yeah. And the Americans and the British are allies now. 250 years later, we have been allies for a while. So, you know, we wouldn't, you know, particularly do that now to anyone. But in war, you know, it's not good. You know, that when you're in that, when there is war, they take extremes like that. So, but, you know, yeah. You have a website that goes into more detail about, you know, the Devil's Hopyard, and you have some music. And can you tell me what the website address is? Tell the readers what the website address is?
Yes, it's www.sorrentino.com.
Okay. Alrighty. And another question I have here. Oh, yeah. It talks about the broken millstone came from the grist mill of Abner Beebe of East Haddam, Connecticut. When Beebe refused to take part in the Patriots' network of boycotts and associations, neighbors urged him to join. When he spoke of his loyalty to England, Patriot committees banned all dealing with him. One crowd punished him with tar and feathers in 1774. Another broke his millstone in 1775. That's loans from State of Connecticut Department of Historic Resources. So, how did you, you know, who did you ask when you were looking up the information? Who gave you the information about millstone?
Well, that started by me looking in the local libraries because I couldn't find anything any other way. A lot of it wasn't even known. Some of the things were like over 100-year-old papers, and they were almost. I couldn't even read some of them, but I read them, and I went into a lot of research, many hours, and then I contacted the State of Connecticut historian and the archaeologist of the state, and I went over them in detail. In several instances, I met with them personally to go over these things and the evidence of it, and they wrote me letters of endorsement.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, When you found the millstone, though, how did you decide to look up? And like, when you found the millstone, a lot of people would find stone like that and just walk right by and that, yeah, there's millstone there. But what made you think, hey, there might be a historic story to this? What made you know that there could be a story behind it? Who did did you say, hey, I found millstone and, what's the story behind it? What made you think that, did you say?
Because I had prayed to my God, what should I do? And I was praying as if my parents were in front of me. And they had long ago passed on, but I was crying and said, what do I do now, Mom and Dad? What do I do now, God? And when I opened my eyes, I saw that broken millstone, and I got this feeling of tingle in my body and mind that was beyond logic. I can't explain it logically.
So it's like the thought was given to you to do something with that millstone. Maybe you saw it before, but you never thought anything of it. But at that time,
right,
that thought was given to you.
I think my state of prayer and really talking to God was really miraculous in that moment. It inspired me to be a better person.
What year was that? In 2002 you found it, the millstone?
Approximately 2000,
Yeah.
But there was several years of research and thinking about it. What should I do?
Yep. So the New York Times wrote an article about millstone, the millstone that you found at Devil's Hopyard.
In 2001.
Yeah. How did they get a hold of the story? They did quite a write-up, right? Giving you
it started with
your name, giving your name and your experience, and
it started at the Norwich Bulletin.
Oh, okay.
In Norwich, Connecticut, and I had told some of the people there that I knew that knew me, and they wrote this article there, and that came before the New York Times, but then it also went to several other places, and other historical people started calling me and writing me letters, and then I made a presentation to the Smithsonian, and they said they were going to open up a new section.
It's the millstone that you found is now on display at Devil's Hopyard, is now on display at the National Museum of American History, Smithsonian. And there's the picture of it right there.
2017, yep, it opened up.
That's a grand display.
The millstone is right at the bottom, yep.
Yep, it's all about the story of Abner Beebe, and how he owned the grist mill and the Sons of Liberty and the American Revolution, and what happened here, right in Connecticut.
And as you're walking in, that's the very first thing you see.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yep. I see a horn there. The horn is for gunpowder, I guess.
And I also got to take my grandchildren and my daughter there. And I drove them down there. We stayed all weekend for that opening. And that's a precious memory to me.
Oh my goodness, yes.
That was really precious.
Definitely a piece of history that, won't be forgotten. So that's fascinating. All right, well, Lou, I'd like to thank you for joining me today and sharing with the viewers about the millstone find at Devil's Hopyard. Thank you.
And one last thing I wanted to say is the song At the Hopyard on my website, which is in the background in this video.
Yeah.
That was sacred. And I've gone there many times and listened to it. When I go through other hard times in my life, I remember that moment of miraculous things that happen. Sometimes people dying or something very painful in life can lead to something miraculous.
That's true. Don't give up your faith in God, and because after a storm comes a rainbow.
Yay!
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for watching my show. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a safe and happy Halloween. Thank you.